This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Shalom Aleichem. Hope everyone's doing well. How you doing, Rabbi? We're continuing in the Rosh, Ois Chafei. Lehoiv es Hashem, to love Hashem b'chol levavcha, with all your heart, uv'chol nafshecha, with all your soul, uv'chol ma'oidech, with all your money. Okay, we know that's a mitzvah saseh. The Chaim says, why should love of Hashem be any less than any other mitzvah in the Torah, that we're careful, for example, not to eat before we're Mekayim? So, one should try their best to be Mekayim the mitzvah of loving Hashem when they say this pasuk in Shema, and if there's not enough time then, one should make sure before they go home from Shachris in the morning, at least they could put under their belt that Mekayim the mitzvah of Avas Hashem. However, there's more to it. V'sachshoiv be'amercha es Hashem leikacha b'chol levavcha. One should think when they say es Hashem leikacha b'chol levavcha that they would be moiser nefesh, that one would give up their body and money on Kedushas Hashem. In other words, when you say the pasuk v'yohavta es Hashem lekecha, some even say when you say the pasuk of Shema Yisrael, one should think that they would give up their life and give up their money al Kiddush Hashem, and by doing so v'zeh tekayim ba'atzmecha. In this way, one fulfills in themselves divrei hamashoyer, the words of David HaMelech, ki alecha hiragnu kol hayom. For you, for your sake, we are killed every day. The pasuk says, ki alecha hiragnu kol hayom. For God, we are killed every day. What does that refer to? That refers to Kriya Shema. Now, the Rosh says one should think this when they say v'yahavta es Hashem lekecha. According to the Rashba, and it's brought in Shulchan Aruch, one should think this when they say the first pasuk of Shema. This is rooted in the Sifri. The Sifri says, "V'chol nafshecha, afilu noitos nafshecha, v'chein hu oimer ki alecha hayragnu chol hayoim." Can a person be killed every day? But this refers to tzaddikim who have this kavana. Now, the Pele Yoyetz says in his entry to Chil Hashem that this is actually a wondrous takana. If somebody chas v'shalom is chayiv misa because of Chil Hashem or the like, one could sort of fulfill that chayiv misa with the proper kavana during Kriya Shema. During Kriya Shema, a person should think that they would give up their life al Kiddush Hashem, and then Hashem uses the principle. Hashem is mechashev mitzaref machshava lamaisa, machshava toiva mitzarfa lamaisa. Now, in the Sefer Darkei Hatshuva, he also brings that even though if somebody violates Chil Hashem, the only kapara is with Misa, by having Kavana during Kriya Shema, that could be mechaper one's avonos. There's an astounding comment Rav Goldberg cites from the Vilna Gaon in the Even Shlema, that the Rishoim, even at the time of their death, they're stubborn, and they fight with the Malach HaMaves, and they don't want to go, even though they know they are dying. But tzaddikim spread out, are poishet their neck like a dove, and they're mechavein to mekayim, to give up their life al Kiddush Hashem. So you say, what do you mean give up their life al Kiddush Hashem? They're dying anyway. So no, even though they're dying anyway, nevertheless, at the time of Misa, if one, so to speak, gives over their life, so it's like giving up their life al Kiddush Hashem. On the footnote in the Even Shlema says that you see how difficult it is to have this thought of Mesiras Nefesh al Kiddush Hashem. Because here it is, even the Rishon, when they know they're going to die, they still can't be mechavein to give over their life al Kiddush Hashem. Because it's a very frightful moment, it's a very awesome moment, and therefore it requires practice. Says the footnote on the Gra, therefore people should frequent their mind to have this thought in order to fulfill it very easily. In other words, one should be in the habit during Kriya Shema of thinking they would be Moiser Nefesh al Kiddush Hashem, so that when the Yom HaMisa comes, the giving over of one's life to HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes naturally. Now, Rav Goldberg says this is the meaning of when the Talmidim said to Rabbi Akiva, even at a time like this, you're able to have such a clear mindset and give over your life. And Rabbi Akiva says, my whole life I was waiting for this moment. In other words, I've been preparing my whole life that when I give up my soul, I should be able to do so in a way of being moiser nefesh al kiddush Hashem. So in other words, the pasuk, it's not only talking about on Mesiras Nefesh, of giving up your life, al Kiddush Hashem, but at the time of death, to be able to give up one's life, al Kiddush Hashem. Now, the question is, what is this process? A person just thinks that they'd be willing to give up their life al Kiddush Hashem, so Hashem considers it as if they gave up their life al Kiddush Hashem. But the person didn't do anything. They're sitting in their shul, in Brooklyn, or in Edgware, wherever they might be. And they're thinking to Mekayim the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem. So Hashem considers like you did it? I mean, don't you have to do it? Why is it good enough to think that you would do it? So Rav Goldberg cites the Gemara in Brachos, and Daf Vav, the Gemara in Kedushin Daf Mem, that machshava toiva, Hashem is mitzaref l'maisa. Like it says, Oz nidbaru yirai Hashem, vayakshev Hashem yishma, vayikasev sefer zikaron lefanav liyirai Hashem, ulechosh ve'shemai, that if somebody thinks to do a mitzvah and he's nenas, it's considered like he did the mitzvah. But Rav Goldberg asks, is this so pashut, that just because somebody thinks to do a mitzvah, Hashem considers it like you did the mitzvah? We know that applies when, let's say, a person ran to shul to daven, and it turns out there was an earthquake, so there's a large crater in the earth between him and the shul. So the person made an effort to go to the shul, and it wasn't possible, Hashem will consider it as if he went to shul. But is it enough just to think in your mind, oh, I would give up my life al Kiddush Hashem. Oh, really? You would give up your life? Okay, so we'll chalk it up as if you did it. Doesn't it only apply when the opportunity to do the mitzvah comes one's way and then one is not able to do it? So Rav Goldberg brings a few examples and support to this idea that Chishev Lasos mitzvah is not only in a situation where the opportunity arises to do the mitzvah and circumstances don't allow it, but even merely the Kavana of wishing to do a great deed that you don't even have the opportunity to do it doesn't even present itself, and it's above your ability, is considered as if you did it. One he brings from the words of Rabbeinu Yoina in the Shari Avoda, in Ois Mem Tes, where Rabbeinu Yoina is talking about the mitzvah of Bechira. This is something we've discussed before from Rabbeinu Yoina. The mitzvah of Bechira is basically always to desire higher madregos and higher levels, even levels above your ability and above your capability. And this is the mitzvah of Bechira. And Rabbeinu Yoina says there are two advantages of doing that. Number one, Hashem will reward you as if you did it, because the Gemara says in Brachos and in Kedushin, Allah b'libay lasis mitzvah v'nenas v'yasa. So we see that someone who tries their best to reach a certain level and they can't do it, if they really are mesaveh and mishtoikek, then Hashem considers it as if they did it. But it doesn't have to be that the opportunity to do the mitzvah arose. And then he brings another beautiful raya from the Malbim. The Malbim in the Eretz Chemda, on Shemois, on the pasuk, Kechu me'itchem truma la'Hashem, koil nediv libay, yivieha eish trumas Hashem, that the Malbim says a wealthy person, they have the opportunity to fulfill the mitzvah of tzedakah in reality. But a poor person, all they need to do is wish to be mekayim the mitzvah of tzedakah, wish they could be menader and menadev, and if they think that, Hashem is mechashev machshava toiva l'maisa. This is what it means. Kechu me'yitchem, take from yourself, that's your money. And if you say, what about the poor man who doesn't have the money? Kol nediv leiv, even if you don't have the money, but in your heart you desire, you yearn for the money, Yevieha is Chumas Hashem. The Ratzain and the Machshava will be reckoned and considered as if you did it. And the Malbim says that actually there's an advantage of wanting to do a mitzvah even more than doing the mitzvah. We had this idea, by the way, by Esther, by Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz, where the desire to fulfill the mitzvah of Kibbud Av V'Im could even be on a higher madrega than actually fulfilling it, because he said, the Malbim says like this: if somebody actually gives gold, all they have is gold. If they bring silver, they just have the mitzvah of silver. But in machshava, there's no gvul. If you have in mind you're going to bring all the various types, so then it's considered as if you did so. And Rav Goldberg says this could be pshat in the Ramban. The Ramban says that by the mitzvah of the Arayin, it says v'asu, so that all of Klal Yisrael should have a chelek in the Arayin. How do all of Klal Yisrael have a chelek in the Arayin? Either you could donate, or you could assist B'tzalel, or the Ramban says yechavnu l'davar. What does the Ramban mean that you could be mechavein to it? What exactly are you doing by being mechavein to the Aron? The answer is, you're having Kavana, you wish you could participate physically, donation, building, that desire, even though you don't have the actual opportunity, did not arise to do the mitzvah, and you just couldn't do it. It's just a mitzvah you wish you could do. We still apply the rule of chishev lasos mitzvah, V'nenas v'layasa mala olav kilo asa. Okay, we'll hold it over here, B'ez Hashem. Tomorrow we'll continue Ois Chavav, wishing everyone a wonderful day.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.